What we intend to show you here is a presentation of ASG's use of the eMite dashboard for monitoring our service delivery processes. First up, we'll show you the integration with Cisco's UCCX call management system to show you phone metrics. So on the left here we can see the status of the agents associated with this call queue and whether they're dialed in and ready to take calls. We've then got 4 gauges. Top left one shows us any calls that are in the queue right now, followed by the one below it showing how long they've been waiting in that queue. We can then show additional gauges, in this case for the average duration of a call, plus the percentage of calls that have been abandoned for today. We then have some integration with additional service management tools where we can drill into the processes such as incident problem change management. So here we have integrated with HP Service Manager, and we can look at the queues. So here we have assigned to work group where we can look at the calls that are outstanding in the queue of the various work groups. Down the bottom left we have 2 panels where you can either view it by the priority of the call or the status of the call. So we can select the work group at the top. We then come down to the gauge in the bottom here. We can look at calls by the assigned to work group that we have now filtered via the priority or via the status. We can then further drill into the particular status selected, in this case work in progress, and it will show us the calls that are waiting for that particular queue. So it shows us 3 calls and we have a number of fields that we can get visibility of. So the idea is team leaders can come to this screen, look at the calls by their work group, and then drill down into the particular calls associated to a person. Here we can further filter the calls so that we can remove certain statuses if we like, or we can click on any of the headings and sort for that particular column. This next screen here is Jeopardy calls. So this shows us calls within a particular queue and calls that are perhaps past due and calls that are coming up for deadline within the next few days. So we drill into the group. We can then see the calls range from 8 days overdue to perhaps 4 days into the future, and then we can select any of those columns and see the particular calls. The idea of that is to allow you to manage your Jeopardy calls and things that are coming up in the future. We then go into the incident management where we do the same sort of metrics for events. Here we have top 20 incidents for particular nodes, so we can look at the configuration items and number of calls that are associated with those calls, and we have both current and previous months. So we can pick on a particular configuration item and we get a listing of all the calls that are associated with that configuration for the period, so in this case the current month. So it allows us to do analysis of the top generating CIs in the system. Here we've got a view of calls based on breaches or SLA performance. So once again down the left we can look at the assigned to work group. Further we can drill into the individuals within a particular group and get a view of how they're going against calls, whether they're passing or failing the SLA for individual calls. So it just gives us a good analysis of the performance of the teams and the performance of the individuals. We can further drill through into the detail of any particular call if we wish. So in this scenario we see there's some calls where we don't know the status because the deadline hasn't expired at this stage. I'll now like to show you how easy it is to create new dashboards using the tool. So in this scenario we pick the template that we would like, and there's quite a number to choose from. Once we've selected the template and the layout of the dashboard, we can then choose from a number of different data blocks that you can see here in the graphic. In this scenario we'll pick the tree view, which would allow us to traverse the objects. We'll bring in a metric and a couple of custom reports. It's then simply a matter of linking the reports together so that when you select an object in one report it's reflected in one of the graphs. So we just build the report up here and link it into these gauges or reports. As you can see there's a number of reports we can choose from, which we have done. So now once we We can also then drill into the particular reports if we like and change the look and feel and change the type of report they are, and there's a significant number there of column, bar, charts, scatter graphs. So here we're picking some reports for this bottom gauge, which you'll see render shortly. The report's essentially built now, so as I save that off, I can pick any item in the tree, and that'll then update the metrics or the charts that we've chosen here in the screen. And that's it. That's all that's involved in creating a new dashboard. And here we further have a view of, we can go full screen, look at any of the particular views, sort by column, filter if we so wish, go back to the normal view, and essentially that's a new dashboard built, released for the people to use.